Hello everybody, welcome to Zoya's welcome. So basically in this wonderful reading, this is going to be for a tarot card reading. This is going to be for a Virgo reading. And it's going to be for December 13th to December 19th of 2025. So, this is going to be what's going on for you, Virgo, and you have to remember about, these days about you need to understand about what's going on in this whole entire situation. And you have to think that it's going to be very authentic or how it goes. But you have to process your own situation. You have to, combat your own situations. How your own, taking your own advantage point. The way how this is, you have to figure out what's happening in this situation. No matter how you're going to be becoming controlling or not, or you're going to figure out what's going on. But you have to figure out that when you have your own situations, you have to have that. It's based on how it's going to be. It's based on how you're going to look at it in different perspective. That's all you can do. But you take a risk. You take as a good feeling and saying, well, this is going to be very interesting. I know what to do. So you have to understand that, right? Because that's how it goes. So in theory, you have to have your own basic ways about knowing to do, and you have to figure out what's happening in that way, because that's how it goes. So you have to think about your own situations and say, well, this is how it goes. I don't like this. I don't like to play games like this. That's how it goes. And you have to think about that, because in theory, it's based on how you're doing in that way. If you look at things into a mind perspective, that's all you can do. But you take a risk. You take about a huge gamble about what to do, and this is how it goes. So here we go. So interesting for you, Virgo. You had the 9 swords upright. There's trauma here, so you might deal with an Gemini prayers. The Hierophant is upright. You want guidance. That's how it goes. The 7 wands upright. You want to feel silence, because that's how it goes. The 5 swords upright. There's conflict. There's basically basically revenge, or you have conflict because you're not getting along. Justice is upright because you're telling the truth, and the 7 cups upright, there's a delusion because you might have a deja vu mode. That's how it goes. But precisely, you understand what it is in that way, whether you go with the flow, and it's based on how you're going to be doing it. You have to emphasize what you're doing in that way, because this is how it goes. This is not your own game theory, and saying, well, I need to take it as a vantage point. Well, you have to go with the flow. That's the way it happens. So let me clarify between the 7 wands, 9 swords, and the Hierophant. Queen of Cups is reversed because you have no empathy, because that's how it goes. That's the way it kind of is. So Queen of Cups reversed, there's no empathy, and then you have Fools upright, there's change. Wheel of Fortune upright, you're gonna have good luck. That's how it goes. So you have to have that baseline to understand about how it goes, whether you feel like it. So you might be doing it another, having the good way of how it goes in that way. Let me clarify this Queen of Cups here. The 9 Pentacles are right. So you might be having trust. You might do it in a Virgo, Capricorn, Taurus in that way, because you have to figure it out. That's how it goes. So there's gonna be a good thing is never cry or spill milk, or sticks and stones do not break my bones. Whatever it is, right? That's how it goes. And when you think about it, it's like, okay, well, it's gonna be very interesting. I know what to do. What's between this 5 swords, 7 cups, and this justice? 8 cups here is no satisfaction. 3 pentacles are you want to have excitement. 10 cups are there's basically completion. Judgment reverse, there's no action. 4 wands reverse, there's no celebration. But the 6 pentacles are you want kindness. Yeah, because you want to be kind. You want to be accurate. You want to be, how it is. This is the way it goes. So you understand about how you're feeling in that way, whether you go with the flow. You go with the flow because it's based on that. It's based on how your own momentum, your own abilities, because that's how it goes. You have to understand it. You have to persuade it, because that's the way it goes. There's a theory where you have to act kindness and you want trust. Well, you have to figure out how you're feeling in that way. Let me clarify this Wheel of Fortune here. Strength card reverse is no bravery. Now once separate is basically fear, because you have no bravery. You're being scared because that's what you're doing. Because when you face it, you face about how you're feeling, no matter the outcome is, no matter how you're feeling in that way, and saying, well, I don't like this one, I quit. But you know what, you keep doing it. You keep doing it because you need to understand that. You need to believe about your own emotions here. That's how it goes. What's this Fool card here? The Seven Swords Tower, you're feeling deceit, and you're having two pentacles because you're balancing two things at once. So you might be dealing with a Leo, Aries, Sagittarius. You might deal with Gemini, Libra, Aquarius. You might deal with a Virgo, Cancer, Taurus. You might deal with a Pisces, Cancer, Scorpio. You have all these wonderful feelings, but the way of this is, you're trying to interact with how you're feeling in that way. It's like, okay, well, this is going to be very interesting. I know what to do, but it's based on it. Let me clarify this three pentacles here. King Pentacles yours is no prosperity, but ten Pentacles yours is no wealth. No, because you're crying. Because you want have your own basic money, but you don't have money. You're taking advantage of it. You're basically saying, well, I need money. Well, if you don't have money, money doesn't grow on trees, okay? And if it does, if money does grow on trees, we'd be rich by now. You know what I mean, right? But the way of this is, you need to understand that. You need to understand about what's going on. So what's going on between this King Cups and this 10 Pentacles? 2-1 story, you want to be planning on something. Yeah, because it's based on how it is in that way. So, like I say, you might be dealing with another Pisces, Pisces, Cancer, Scorpio, but you might be dealing with another Leo, Aries, Sagittarius. That's how it goes. So you're planning on what to do next, Virgo. You need to pay attention to it. So let me clarify what's going on between the Seven Swords and the 2 Pentacles. The Devil's upright. There's obsessions, addictions. Ooh, interesting. Okay. What's between these two ones here? The Judgment Reverse is no action. Alright, so this is how it goes. So let me clarify this this Devil card. What's happening for Virgo? Let's see. The Sun carries over, there's positivity. The Devil is upright, there's obsessions, addictions. That's how it goes. You need to act like, oh, well, everything's fine. But it's like, no, it's not. So you might be dealing with another Capricorn as the way it goes. You might do another as Leo as a fire sign. But that's how it goes. You need to have your own mental challenge to understand what you're feeling. Because that's how it goes. There's a good intake of the situation, no matter what the outcome is. And when you do it, it's like, okay, well, you need to face the facts about your own abilities. From the right or wrong perspective, that's all you can do. But you take a risk. You take about as one feeling, but when you have this whole entire negativity or violence or whatever it is, people will start to back off and leave you alone, Virgo. Because they tire of it, right? So they're tired of your negativity. Because you think that, oh, well, it's not my fault. No, you keep doing it. You keep dragging it on. That's how it goes, right? You're dragging about all that negativity because that's how it goes. Right? This is how it goes. You have to read between the lines. That's how it goes. What's this Judgment card about? The Justice over, you're telling the truth. The Chariot, there's no progress. But the World is over, there's completion. Yeah, because you want to be completed. You want things to be, how it goes. You need to, decide what you're doing in that way. It's like, okay, well, this is how it goes. I need to have my own opportunity because that's how it goes, right? So let me see what's in the middle of the situation for you, Virgo. The World is over, there's completion. Yeah, because you want to have completion. You want things to be all completed. But, hear me out. You need to understand that, right? Because this is the way how it goes. So you need to express your own expression because that's how it goes. You need to see it because that's the way it works, right? So you have to think about that. Nothing is impossible to make it possible. So we go from the middle to left, middle to right. 5 of Wands, there's no chaos. 3 of Swords, there's no heartbreak. 6 Wands, there's achievement. 11 there's no decisions. 9 Wands, there's no immaturity. 8 Wands, there's no speed. 8 Swords, there's no anxiety. 4 Wands, there's celebration. That's how it goes. So you got to celebrate because that's how it goes in that way. Whether things are really happening all at once, because that's how it goes. You need to believe it. You need to accept it. You need to be who you are in that way. It's like, okay, well, this is how it is. I need to do it. Yes, because in that way, you understand how it goes in that way. What's between the middle and the right side, please? 7 Pentacles Star, you want to have a career. 3 Pentacles Star, there's no excitement. 3 Wands Star, there's basically celebration. Yeah, because because 3 Wands, you want communication. That's what you want. But you have to believe that if you want to do what you can to be kindness and understand, that's how it goes. So let's see what's the opposite between this communication. 5 Pentacles, alright, you're feeling basically insecurity. Yeah, because you're feeling insecurity about your own emotions, on how you're feeling, on the way of how you're going to accept of what you're doing in that way. You have to change it. You have to change it around. Because when you have this, it's like, well, I need to accept this. Yes, but does it make your own daily routine? Doesn't make sense, right? So let me look at this 4 at once here. 6 Swords, sorry, there's movement. 10 Pentacles, sorry, you want wealth. Wheel of Fortune, sorry, you want good luck on your side. That's how it goes. So you want money, but then you're saying that no, I don't want money. Well, it's exactly like that. You want to keep going. You want to keep going because that's how it goes. You need to believe it. You need to accept it on how it is in your own daily routine. If you have a daily routine, you look at it in a different perspective. That's all you can do. But you take a risk. You take it as a wonderful gamble because that's the way it works. That's how it seems to be. What's this 5 Pentacles about? 10 Swords, you want conclusions. Queen Swords, there's no independence. 8 Swords, there's a misunderstanding. Yeah, that's how it goes. 10 Cups, there's no support. 10 Cups, there's no completion. 5 Swords, there's revenge. Yeah, because it's like you're saying, well, if I'm having all these conclusions, or if I'm having conflict, because that's how it goes. You're not showing your independence. You're not doing things by yourself anymore. You're quitting it. So it's like you're saying that, oh, well, I'm going to talk about this. Yeah, but in that way, it doesn't make sense. No, it doesn't. What's this Wheel of Fortune about? Him, it's alright, you want restrictions. 6 Pentacles, there's no kindness, so you're being rude. 8 Pentacles, there's no growth. Queen Cups, there's no empathy. 9 Cups, there's fulfillment. Yeah, because everything's fulfilled. So it's like you're saying, well, I don't need this kindness anymore. I'm going to be acting mean, acting rude, acting disrespectful. That's how it goes. People are going to try to back away from you, Virgo. And it's basically saying that you don't like this anymore. But you keep doing it. Right? That's how it goes. What's this 5 of Swords about? High Priestess, you want to use your voice. 9 of Swords, celebrate there's trauma. Magician, there's no skill. Queen Wands, there's charisma. Yeah, because you're looking at it. You're looking at it as a different perspective. Right? That's the way it works. What's this 9 of Cups about? Page of Pentacles, there's no prospects. Judgment, there's no action. 2 of Swords, which path you're going to take. 7 of Swords is where you're feeling deceit. So between that, right? It's like you're having charisma, you're having deceit. That's how it goes. What's this Queen of Wands about? Page of Swords, there's no education. 8 of Cups, there's satisfaction. 5 Cups, there's grief. Yeah, because you're grieving about something. Let it go. That's how it works. What's this 7 of Swords about? Wow, the justice here is you're not telling the truth. You're lying about something. King of Pentacles, there's security. 3 Cups, there's celebration. Yeah, because that's how it goes. You understand that everything seems to be fine, but it's like, no, it's not. What's the middle of this situation? 7 Cups, there's no delusion. Queen of Pentacles, there's no stability. 2 Cups, there's no relationships. Yeah, exactly. 9 Pentacles, there's no trust. 6 Cups, there's no past. Page of Pentacles, there's no invention. Empress, there's nourishment. Yeah, because you're being nourished. You think that everything seems to be fine, but it's like, no, it's not, right? You take it as a grain of salt or a grain of pepper. It doesn't matter, but you take it as you're going to do it because that's how it goes, right? That's how it seems to be. So, you need to understand that you have to believe in what's going on, Virgo, and I'm so sorry to say this to you, but you need to pay attention. It's like, well, you know, I can't do anything tomorrow, I quit. Yes, but quit for the negativity. Like, quit it, because when you're in that negativity, people will start to leave you alone. People will start to, you know how it goes, because you're not trusting them, you're not having your own way. You make up lies, you're saying all these things, and then it's gonna hurt your feelings because you're not trusting your own independence. You're not, you know, doing how it goes. It's like you're being played by Pinocchio. You know what I mean? But the way how this works, you need to understand that, because you have to believe that there's always a silver lining to every situation. You know, no matter what, right? So you understand that. But if you keep controlling about this, whether you don't have independence or anything else, that's how it goes. So basically, that's what it seems to be. You're showing your emotions, Virgo, and you have to understand that. But that's the way it happens. So before I let you go, try to pay attention about this whole entire situation, because it will happen to you, right? That's how it goes. But it's the way it works, and you have to pay attention to it. So that's how it is. So understand this very well, and understand about what's going on in this way, because it would be interesting of how it goes in that way, and that's what it seems to be. So I hope you all like this video. Please give it a like.